Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm here checking out Paradox Soul. I legitimately have no idea what that is supposed to do with the game. It just seems pointless, like entirely irrelevant to the rest of the goings on, and you'll understand why once we start playing. It's a Metroidvania, and funnily enough, I actually know where this game comes from, because for those of you who don't know, I'm currently working on a project called Flashpoint, which is basically me backing up a bunch of Flash games. And this is actually on Armor Games' site. It is a HTML5 game ported to the Vita. So it's basically like one step up from Flash. A little bizarre, I gotta say, just a little. So there's really not much here. Can't change your controls, but frankly, you don't really need to. I've unlocked everything there is to see, at least according to the controls, and of course you got background music and sound effects, but not much else other than that. There's not much else of anything in this game, honestly. I don't even know what the other difficulties are like, but I'm willing to put in a guess based on my gameplay, and my guess is that it determines the amount of health points you have. With that said, let's just continue on, shall we? Actually, you know what? Experiment. Experiment on my part. What does hard look like? One health point! I knew it! I fucking knew it! I guessed it! Alright, fuck it, we're going back to normal. That's where it starts at, and that's where I've been playing the majority of the game at. So... Huh. Hasn't stopped like this before. Oh, that performance, oh dear. Thankfully, the performance is usually fine when you get in game, but the early game was stuttering really bad. Like, even by Ratalaika Games standards, and yes, this is a Ratalaika title. So here's the drill. It's an incredibly simple Metroidvania game. You've got the ability to double jump, roll around, and hold square to shoot. You can take cover behind things. You have an electro attack, and you have a bomb attack. However, these two... Well, I call them attacks, but they're more like just things that help you get through the environment. They aren't really actually useful as attacks per se, so yeah, they're really not that great for you. And the idea is you have stumbled across this station in Iceland, I think they said it was, and you just need to get through it. That's more or less it. Great, this room needs a key card. We can't go that way yet. But yeah, you're just some random person who turns up on some random ice station. Turns out it's filled with things like zombies and weird overtaken machinery, like this thing, which I can kill in about, like, 2 seconds. There are some upgrades you can get. There's no upgrades to your health, obviously, if you were paying attention during that difficulty section. Yeah, unless you really want to feel the pain, you should probably put it on easy, because normal and hard are kind of annoying for certain sets of reasons that we might get into if the level design allows us to, because the level design in this game can go from terrible to serviceable with the snap of the fingers. Like that, for example. Because sometimes it can be really hard to get behind cover, because you have to use the same button you use for the bloody rolling dodge, and it can really screw you at times. But yeah, you can see that I've only got 1 health, and there's a reason for this. The health doesn't regenerate in any way whatsoever. Your crutch for this game, I hesitate to call it, but that's basically what it is when you die, you just get sent back to the beginning of the same room. That's pretty much all there is to it with the game's difficulty. So if you're on 1 health, you'll just get shot and you'll go back to the previous room, obviously. If you're on 2 health, you'll go down to 1 health, and then you'll have to get shot again to go back to the other room, and so on and so on. Oh look, a shield. This will only protect me temporarily, which means I think they might have something coming up for me here. Something like that, I suppose. But yeah, here's the thing. When you're playing on normal difficulty, it's actually surprisingly challenging, because, well, if you get hit once, getting hit again is just going to send you back to the start of the same room. And there are certain things in the game that you aren't particularly sure what to do about, at least at the very beginning. Like, for example, when see that zombie, for example? It would have been impossible for me to know that he was going to pop out of that tube. And things like the zombies have this annoying tendency to pour themselves out of tubes once you get near them. So it's one of those annoying situations where you have to either inch your way forward or just run through like a madman, wait for them to get up, and then just turn around and shoot. Unless you're in a situation like that where you don't really need to. So the level design in this game is mostly a pain in the ass, because all you can really do is go through it, see what's there, and then try and remember it later. See, this gun doesn't start out this powerful. Zombies usually take like 15 bullets. But one gun upgrade gives you 8, then another gun upgrade gives you the same gun, but you get this random giant green beam out of nowhere, and this random giant green beam is also really questionable, actually. So follow my lead on this one if you can. So, most zombies, at least normal ones, even the ones with guns, because they have the same amount of health, take about 8 shots to kill with this green laser beam thing. Just the regular one, not the big one. The big one will kill most normal ones instantly, right? Do I have to shoot this? I do. And the game's got that Ratalaika problem where the game's frame rate will tank if there's a trophy on screen, just because they did that on purpose. It's annoying. Oh, great. I also really want to complain about this map, but we'll get to that. At least they let me know that the way I need to go is to Area 28. That's nice of them, I suppose. So, yeah. These normal zombies take like 8 bullets to take out normally, right? But this green laser beam thing comes every 1 in 10. So if you actually want to use it even remotely reliably on the regular zombies, which sometimes you can't do because you get into this weird little shootout where you're guaranteed to repeat a certain pattern every single time, roll behind cover, wait for them to fire off 4 shots, fire off 4 shots of your own because you'll get damaged if you do any more than 4, then hide up behind cover again and then do another 4. So when you're in a situation like that, you find yourself in the annoying thing of, should I pop out again and let the big green laser beam come out, or should I just hide behind cover again? The only time that really big green beam is useful is when you're fighting those forklift things, because they just take them out 2 shots. Also, there's times where this happens, where you come up behind a dude who's going to shoot you, and there's no way to get through this without taking damage. But when you unlock the electro weapon, that doesn't become a problem anymore. The level design just kind of sucks in general in this. Alright, so I've got to go down from... Oh, God. Yeah, the cover mechanic is also kind of annoying. It's kind of stiff. It would have been nice to have it on its own button. I guess not, though, right? Yeah, back up here, electro. My main problem with the game, though, is that it's so bloody boring. I mean, most of the combat situations you'll see in the first 5 minutes are what'll be throughout the rest of the game. There are bosses, but their patterns are so simple and their tactics so, just dull that I was able to beat them both on the second try, because all you really need to do is learn their patterns, and their patterns are nothing difficult to deal with, I promise you that much. And so, you just come across the same set of tricks over and over again. The zombies that shoot at you, the zombies that run at you, sometimes there's dogs or drones, which are basically the same thing. You just drop down and hold this fire button for a little bit. And the level design is incredibly boring. Sometimes they'll just make you go up one completely obvious path in order to actually get the key card you need to move on. But outside of that, there's pretty much nothing in the way of exploration or mystery. Oh yeah, the map. It took me a really long time to figure out what this was, even though I only played the game for 45 minutes before I started dropping into this. And the thing is, this map is absolutely terrible because you have to look really closely at it. Like, this is on a regular monitor, in my case, right? So I can see it alright. But when you're looking at this on the Vita screen itself, it is a nightmare to see those tiny little arrows and try and figure out where you need to go. Thankfully, this is kind of offset by the fact that, as I said before, the game is actually incredibly linear, so you don't have to worry too much about getting lost or anything, but man, that's just a terrible map. Who would design their map like this? Who in their right mind would make their map like this? This is just like 99% noise. It's incredibly unpleasant. Kind of hard trying to get through doors. You'll almost never go through on your first try. See what I mean about this big green laser beam thing feeling useless? I mean, you can predict that it comes out on the 10th shot every single time, but I just don't see the oh my Christ, I have to do these things again, which is at this point just stand still and hold the fire button. Oh look, one of the few things you can actually use a bomb on. Also, enemies just off screen aren't actually tracked by the game, so you need to get within view of them to actually shoot them. This can and will screw with you later on. Oh great, I came all the way down here just for a shield. Wonderful. Well, there's a lock terminal over here, so I need to go this way anyway. The game's graphical style isn't that impressive. It's uninspired retro dreck, and the same thing with the soundtrack. This game is not that pleasant to look at. It's not unbearable, and the game does run okay, as I've said. Never mind, what was that performance drop? Holy shit! Okay, that was odd. Why not? Alright. Oh look, two of them in the same spot. Let's see if I'm lucky enough to get my... Yep, there we go. It's just dull. It doesn't do anything particularly noteworthy. It doesn't impress me much. There's nothing in the way of really interesting mechanics. The few cool upgrades that you do get are very limited in their actual combat usage. All combat in general is just dull. Oh look, an actual secret. Who'd have thunk? Oh look, a new enemy. What's the bet I just need to stand still and shoot it? Okay, never mind. Try Electro on us. Oh, yeah. Is this all I have to do to get rid of this thing? Oh, wait a minute. It's just... nah. Okay, that just stuns it. So these guys are... undefeatable. Okay. Oh, that's just to loop me back around. Brilliant. It's weird in this game because I've been doing alright on 1 health point for a while now, but most of the time I would just recommend if you're going to lose that health point... Oh, right. Most of the time I would recommend if you're going to lose that health point just to take the health point loss and restart the room with two hit points instead. There's no reason not to do that, at least if you're playing on normal. Yeah, I think we can only leave one way, so that must have been the... Yeah, it just doesn't do anything interesting. You've seen everything the game has to show you within the first few minutes of this video, and it doesn't really get any better. I find it hard to recommend, and honestly, these performance drops are just surprising me. And that shield's probably been helping my, yeah. You just want to go through it, man. You just want to avoid fighting the exact same enemies over and over again. I mean, I've been playing this for an hour at this point. Like, I keep being reminded of how Super Metroid, just as an example, did this kind of exploration a million times better, like 30 years ago. Because it had different enemies, it had different layouts for them. It actually let you use your weapons offensively in a way that was useful. Maybe my bombs might have helped, but I don't really see the point in trying. Oh, hi. No, facing the wrong direction. The next boss isn't actually going to be for a while because it's all the way down in the bottom right. I started this video pretty much right after I beat the second boss, and it wasn't anything special, and considering the game only seems to have 3 bosses, yeah. Man, you don't even get much use of the double jump or the air slide after this point. Right, so there is a lock terminal in here. Tried to jump him, but you can't jump him. Huh, that actually worked. Fair enough. Like, we well and truly blew the crap out of that computer, so where did this other monitor come from? Right, so I get to backtrack all the way to A33, which will let me access what appears to be the bottom third of the facility. But frankly, I do not care. We've been here more than long enough, and you've seen everything that you need to see. That was a look at Paradox Soul. Thoroughly uninspired. And there's no story or anything as far as I can tell. Like, there is an intro cutscene, but it's like 5 seconds long. So... no, it's completely and utterly soulless. Yeah, that one stung me too. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.